Welcome to 1983, the year when bedroom coders ran riot in the British gaming industry. We look at many vintage games on this channel, but today I look at a game that really deserves its title of true classic. Today we're taking a look back at Manic Miner. Back in 1983, the world of computing was a vastly different place to today. The Apple Macintosh was a year away from launch, the original Nintendo Game Boy was 6 years away, and the Pentium processor was still a whole decade away. It was a different time where the concept of AAA games for your home hadn't yet materialised. 1977 had brought us the Atari 2600, and there was a glut of space-themed games due to the vast expanse of black used as backdrops. However, for the most part, there was a real lack of diversity of games around about this time. Atari may have dominated much of the gaming scene in the US, but a rather different scene was developing in the UK. The early 80s was the rise of the bedroom coder. Without a strong presence from Atari in the UK, other systems such as the Sinclair Spectrum range and the Commodore ranges fostered an environment for the do-it-yourself attitude. The pinnacle of the self-made game revolution was undoubtedly the seminal work of British students David Braben and Ian Bell. Their vector-based game Elite pushed not only what small-time coders could achieve, but what a system could handle, and even what games could be. A year prior to Elite though, far away from pushing hardware capabilities, came the breakthrough moment for a British coder called Matthew Smith. Inspired by the Atari 800 game Miner 2049er, he released his own take on the game, Manic Miner. The game went on to be one of the all-time classics. This is the Commodore 64 edition released by Software Projects. As you would expect, the game comes on a single cassette and features an interesting design of a mutant telephone chasing Miner Willy. The inside sleeve reveals the loading instructions as well as a short introduction of the character. The premise of the game is that Miner Willy has fallen into a long-abandoned mine shaft. Within the mine shaft there are remnants of an old war and old mining machines. There's also valuables to be dug out. The game premise is rather simple. Each single screen of the game requires the player to collect all of the flashing keys and then make their way to the flashing exit. Each level is packed with unique enemies from toilets to penguins. The game is generally more difficult than it looks. One hit and it's an instant death. Should you hang around too long though, and your oxygen supply may expire, also causing a lost life. You can add an additional life for every 10,000 points earned. The faster you can complete each level, the more points you will receive. Manic Miner has been ported to numerous retro and modern games machines. Its simple puzzle-based action creates a real universal appeal that still lasts today. For game collectors, Manic Miner is an absolute must-own title. It stands out as a game that was the brainchild of a single person yet enthralled a nation of gamers. The lack of mainstream games allowed seemingly anyone to rise up through the ranks with an instant hit. This bears out the notion that artists should be judged on the work that they produce, rather than marketing hype. In terms of collecting cost, the game fluctuates wildly on the auction sites. As a general guide, don't expect to pay more than £5 in the UK for this one, or $7 in the US. There are a whole variety of variants of the game, including various formats, publishers and cover art. Currently, other than the prototype models, the most valuable original of the game is the Bug Bite Whistler cover edition. Expect to pay up to around £15 for this edition, or around $21. Manic Miner's creator Matthew Smith went on to lead a very eventful life, living in a Dutch commune in the Netherlands, and then later being deported back to the UK. As an artist, he's worth revisiting in his own right for another video, but perhaps I'll leave this for another time. He still works in the gaming industry and is a fan favourite at events here in the UK. With the success of Manic Miner, it wasn't long before the next games, Jet Set Willy and Jet Set Willy 2 were released. The first edition of Jet Set Willy is desirable due to the spelling mistake printed on the cassette. More on Jet Set Willy another time though. Manic Miner is a game that has stood the test of time despite its humble origins. I've played this one a lot over the years and can thoroughly recommend it. It's fun, challenging and really sums up the spirit of 1980s gaming. When revisiting retro games, we often find it difficult to play in a modern environment. We just don't get on with the graphics, the poor sound and often clunky gameplay. Manic Miner seems to avoid all of these pitfalls and seems as fresh as the day it was released. I certainly believe that this is a game that is going to live on. No matter what consoles come out in the future, there's almost certainly going to be a Manic Miner release at some point. If not officially, then by the fans. The price makes collecting Manic Miner attractive, but it's the historical value and fun game design that is the real reason to collect this classic. It may be several decades since its original release, but I believe that Manic Miner is a British-made game that should really still be played even today. So, have you played Manic Miner? Do you still own a copy? Maybe you've even met the creator, Matthew Smith. Let me know in the comments, it's always good to hear the memories of other collectors. Hello again, and I hope you enjoyed today's show, and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe, and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!